Welcome to the Well to Lead podcast, where we explore the dynamic relationship between personal wellness and effective leadership. All right. Good morning, guys. This is your host, Bobby Davis. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Hey, listen, I'm excited this morning, folks, to welcome to our show an artist, author, and vice president of Truist Bank, Mr. Malcolm Nelson. My man, Malcolm. What's up, brother? How you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing marvelous and blessed, man. I can't complain. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Look, you were actually one of the first guests that I was targeting, man. And I'm really appreciative that you open up your schedule. I know that you have a lot going on, a lot of great things that I just heard about that's going on in your life. So, man, I'm excited to have you on board today and to share some information with our audience today and, hopefully be a blessing to them, which I believe and know that you will. So listen, what's been going on, man? You've been busy or what? What's been happening? I know you got a lot of things happening right now. So what's going on in the business world? How you been doing there?
I'm always busy, honestly. I I literally I stay working. I'm always trying to create,
Gotcha.
design, write, and then I'm a vice president at Truist Bank, so that keeps me busy as well.
Wow. That's good, man. That's good
Yeah.
stuff. Well, I tell you the thing that when I first met you, we actually met through, I guess, a mutual colleague, you're in commercial real estate, I'm in commercial real estate, and we met through a commercial real estate attorney here locally. And I tell you what impressed me the most about you when I first met you is your focus and your confidence in what you were doing. And it basically just, it was just really, for me, refreshing to see that from a young cat like yourself, because we oftentimes see people, especially in your age range, that are not quite as focused and may not have, their plans laid out. But I think that's one of the things that kind of really impressed me when I first met you. And just the way you carry yourself, man, is just really great. And when I was thinking about this podcast and talking to you, the ideal here was to hopefully, allow you the opportunity to drop some wisdom just from your perspective to young leaders that are coming up, and some things that they can do to stay focused. And when I was thinking about this, I went to your website, and I was really impressed about one statement that you had on there that I think really summarizes, or should summarize, this conversation we're having, is doing what God has called you to do. That's very powerful. And that statement is tied to purpose.
Right. Yeah. So doing what God has called us to do, I don't know what the right adjective is, but it's definitely the phrase that God, no pun intended, God has called me to implore on the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything, when you're talking about, okay, the goal is not, even though my gift is in finance,
Mm-hmm.
which is associated with wealth, my real purpose and passion is to help people live fulfilled lives, because it would be ignorant and incorrect to say that everyone is destined for financial
Right.
wealth, financial wealth, right?
Right.
Wealth can be defined in two ways. So one way is that it's the way that people traditionally understand is wealth is a lot of valuable possessions, money or goods or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But another definition that I love and that I included in my book is that wealth is also a lot of something good.
Mm.
And that ambiguous definition, a lot of something good, Again, I think about that. When you have a lot of something good, you can fill in the what the good is. It's subjective.
That's right.
If you have a lot of time or a lot of peace or a lot of love or joy
Hmm.
or whatever that thing that you define as good to you, and if you have a lot of it, you can consider yourself wealthy. So part
That's
of
good.
that wealth journey of trying to gather a lot of something good, it starts and ends with God.
That's
And
right.
that's what I'm here to share with people is that you'll you'll never live a fulfilled and purpose driven life if you're not serving God.
Mm,
So
that's
everyone here on earth, right, was designed unique. Everyone. But this is the cool part about all of us. We have more in common than most people think. So no one got a chance to pick their parents.
that's
No
right.
one. So what does that mean? You didn't get to pick your traits. You didn't get to pick how tall you were.
Hmm.
You didn't get to pick your intellectual capacity. You didn't get to pick your looks. You also didn't get to pick where you were born.
That's right.
So I couldn't help to be born in Buffalo, New York on the east side. I couldn't I had no say in that.
Hmm.
I had no say in my mother being who she is and my father being who I had no control over that. But my environment and my DNA is a huge part of who I am today.
Right.
So and that also applies to everyone. So the lesson there is that you have to have humility and understand that it's not 100% because of your doing why you are where you are.
Hmm.
It's not.
Hmm.
Because again, like I said, you didn't pick your parents, you didn't pick where you were born, but those two things heavily influence you. You didn't get to choose. If I could choose, I would be 6'5", the dunk of basketball,
Right. Right.
the bench 225 30 times, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would be. And then I would be as smart as you know,
Yeah. No, I
Bill
get you. We would
Clinton.
all be something else if we had the say in it, right? In
Exactly.
terms of design, as far as that's concerned.
Exactly.
I
So
got
you have to acknowledge that you can't take all of the credit.
you. Right.
So
Right.
what humility teaches us, and you learn this lesson by studying the word, is that it's not because of me, it's because of God using me.
That's right. That's right.
I can't take any credit. I don't take any credit I can't take credit for much of anything, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to walk in the steps that God has laid out for me. I didn't make myself creative. I didn't I didn't choose to love fun.
Right.
It was my story was already written. It's just my job to honor what God has put into my brain and has inspired me to do.
Come on. That's
And
good.
when God gives me an idea and or or a vision, I have to honor it.
That's right.
I don't waste time. So
That's
I
right.
try not to waste time. So that's really one message I would love to share with people is just having humility, knowing that it's only because of God.
Hmm.
It's only God using you to do X, Y, and Z. It's not that you were just this genius and you just got everything figured out or no.
Right. Right.
It's because of God.
And wow, you said a lot there, and that's very powerful what you just shared, and I think you've done a great job in really articulating that to our audience. Is that when we look at life, it's it's really about, because all those things you mentioned, we couldn't control how we got here, we couldn't control our parents. There was a lot of factors that happened that we had no control over. The great thing about walking with God and learning him and learning his ways is that we understand him as the creator. He's the creator, he's the manufacturer. He created us, and he put in us gifts, talents, and abilities, and he sent us here for a reason. And there's a reason that we exist. And I think that the probably one of the most important things we can do is we need to seek him to discover what that purpose is and why we exist. Because if we understand why we exist, and as he revealed to us our gifts, talents, and abilities and the purpose for them, it simplifies life. It goes back to the opening statement that you were talking about. You were you were right on point, and you were very specific to what you saw as what you needed to do in life. And and that helps to eliminate a lot of problems. And I think that what you said earlier about just understanding that, God is the source, and through him we move, live, and have our being, and he is the one that decides to work through us here on earth to do his will. And then we can fall in alignment with that. It simplifies life, and it keeps us from chasing things that can become distractions. For example, when and this is just awesome, man. Like I said earlier, I don't see us. We probably not going to get through much of this because I've got about 20 minutes on this show, and I definitely would like to have you to come back to, perhaps continue the conversation more in depth, at another time. But
Definitely.
yeah, the one thing that I see a lot of, and you probably see this too, is that we have, especially with young people, but it's not just them, it's just people in general, where we have prioritized money over purpose.
Mm.
And we chase it instead of chasing God. And I've seen the destructive pattern that has in our life, because you said something earlier about fulfillment. See, the one thing that money will not do and cannot do, it cannot bring you fulfillment apart from you buying the car, you buying the house, you get happy for a moment or so. True fulfillment comes from us not only discovering what our purpose is, but learning how to serve others through that purpose, and staying humble and committed to the things of God.
That,
The 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 thing that I see a lot of is I see a lot of people running into problems and experiencing a lot of challenges because that's what they're doing. They're chasing money instead of purpose.
right.
And I want you to maybe elaborate on that as from the point of your standpoint of what you see, because I've seen a lot of people crash and burn because, for example, they maybe go to school or go to college and they take up a study, or they major in something that pays a lot of money, and they never really look at what their internal giftings are. They never really ask God, hey, what is it that you want me to do? Why am I here? What am I called to do? And then you find yourself in a job that might pay well, but it's killing you. It's affecting your health. It's wreaking havoc on your family because you're you put the wrong priority first, and that money is never ever going to be. Even though we act like it's a god, but it's never a god that's going to help you in the long run. It's just meant to be used as a means to accomplish things. But what do you see in that regards as it pertains to, how you see people chasing money instead of purpose?
I think it's back to, honestly, that's a convoluted topic. One of the components is that, again, people are defining wealth incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
Money is not the only way to quantify your wealth. So that's one thing, right?
Right.
People are chasing after something that is just one layer of your wealth, not the whole layer of your wealth. So I always had the discernment that money was to be made to take care of a family. So,
Right.
okay. If I'm trying to get this money, I always, since a kid, I always knew like getting money was just never a me thing. Like, okay, you got money, but what I'm gonna do? Just like have it for myself and just, well, okay, it's only but so many trips and things I can buy
Right.
myself.
Right.
So I was like, I need to be intentional about finding a wife. So I always was intentional about like, okay, I got to find a wife that we can build with, that I can build with,
Mm-hmm.
and I always define that as like part of success. It's not just a money thing. It's a fulfilled life thing. Like
Right.
I want to enjoy every day of life. The Bible tells us to count it all joy. So, you of course money is extremely important, but just enjoying life and having a peaceful home is also important.
That's right.
And
That's the
that's
truth.
and that's what I like. I mean, not too long ago, my wife was laying in the bed. I was in the living room reading a book, and I took a note, a journal, and I was like, wow, it's so peaceful in here. Like it was just quiet,
Right.
clean. My wife is asleep, chilling. What could I complain about? What more do I need?
Come on.
Literally.
That's
Like
good.
what tell me, like there's not one thing in the world I would say I would rather have that than what I'm experiencing right now.
Mm,
It
mm.
wasn't you couldn't have said, well, if you wanted to wire me $1 billion, and maybe, but you see what I'm saying? But that's the value of that.
Right,
You're right.
right.
I need $1 billion for you to interrupt this piece I got, and I still got to keep my wife,
Mm, mm,
peace. So you can't take my peace from me and my wife. But
mm.
I'm just being silly. But it's just about and just counting it all joy. It's life is very short and fragile, and just try to enjoy everything.
That's it, man. That's
It's
good.
not going to last for forever, so you just have to find ways to enjoy it.
That,
And two things I want to say. Just one with the money thing. My goal has always been to make it to heaven. I don't really I have earthly goals, of course. I have a lot of earthly goals, but I kid you not, my goal, number one goal more than anything is, will I do enough? Well, it's not even do enough because we're saved by grace alone.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Saved by grace alone. So it's not will I do enough. Will God be pleased with his son
Mm,
and what I did here on earth?
come on.
And will he accept me into heaven and hug
Mm,
me and say, job well done, son?
mm, mm.
That's all that's what I truly care about is I believe Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins, so I know I'm going to heaven, but
Mhm.
I don't want to do anything to mess that up.
That's right. That's right.
That,
That's right.
that's
That's
like
right.
my thing. So that's what keeps me grounded, honestly, is that I'm trying to make it to heaven. I could care less about earthly things. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
live here on earth right now. So of course I have to navigate and still do what I am assigned to do.
That's right.
But I'm trying to make it to heaven.
That's it.
So that's
Yeah.
what I would encourage everyone to have that mindset of is you gotta think it like this is a temporary experience here.
That's right.
So you gotta be in preparation mode for what is next. And then the second thing, people need to read their Bibles, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's so much wisdom there. Like any topic, any nothing is new
Mhm.
under the sun. Like this is you're not the first one to experience any
Right.
emotion.
Right.
You're not the first. You're not the first person to lose a job, to get laid off, to get
Mhm.
cheated on, to
Mhm.
lose a person, to lose your best friend, to lose no like no one is experiencing something that has not been experienced
That's right.
thousands of years before you were even thought of. So the Bible has so many lessons, and it's the subtle parts of the Bible that you need to study. It's like don't just pick a verse. No, you have to read the whole thing. Just
Right.
and you will learn things subtly. It's the chapters that people don't mention.
Mm.
That's where you get those real lessons. Like I can go on and give you specific examples, but I'll be talking all day. But it,
No, I look, you're
yeah,
right. You're right. Now, you said two things there that's so important, and I think that kind of puts a bow on that question is your priority in life is to seek first the kingdom of God. That's the priority. When you and I receive Christ as our Lord and Savior, He already paid the price for our past sins and even future sins. And by that right, we've been given access to heaven. And He has placed us in the heavenly realms. And the thing that I think is so important about what you said is that's your priority. And that's essentially what I gather from that statement, is that you were focused on His kingdom and hearing one day, job well done. And I think that's a really, really great goal and a great aspiration. And it should be the call for all of us, is to make the kingdom of God the priority, so that we too, when it's our turn to leave this planet, that we can say, job well done, or hear, job well done, good and faithful servant. And that's powerful, man. And that's incredible that you even mentioned that, because again, with all of the distractions and all of the things that we see happen in everyday life, it's easy to make something else a priority and to begin to focus more on that. And like I said, I've seen a lot of people crash and burn because they made money their God and they made money their focus. And you're right. The interesting thing about the Bible is that it's the greatest book that was ever written. And there are things in that Bible that we can extract from to deal with the situations of today. And that's amazing you said that, because that's probably the one thing that most people don't do. And that's even, unfortunately, people who, may say they know God. I'm not saying they don't. It's just that we don't seem to take the time to study the word, and we don't see the value in it sometime, unless we get in a situation. Then of course we seek out the word and prayer and things of that nature then. But man, that's powerful, Malcolm, what you just said. Again, this goes back to simplifying life. And that's essentially, again, what we all need to do. What all of us need to do is find ways to simplify life and keep the main thing, and
Absolutely.
eliminate the distractions. Now,
Absolutely.
let me ask you this again, just in wrapping up, because I knew we would go over our time, man. Like I said, this has been great. Now, you're an author, artist, banker, entrepreneur, and I know that there are things that and I remember talking to you before, and again, when we had lunch that time, I know you were very clear on your vision for your life. And if you can, just in summation or just in closing, kind of tell some of the audience what it is that you do in terms of some of the books and artwork that you've done, because I want them to make sure that they get an opportunity to find not only your website, but just kind of, know more about what you're actually doing as far as from the business side.
Okay. So my trying to think, where do I start? So I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with a degree in finance and marketing. And then I began a career in commercial real estate banking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now a vice president at Truist, and I am a underwriter and portfolio manager. So essentially, my job is to justify why a bank would lend millions of dollars to a real estate developer for a particular real estate project.
Right.
This could be either a construction loan or buying a building that is already built. And in that process, you have to substantiate the value of the real estate. So as I was a young person in my career, I had a degree in finance, but unless you have a parent or someone or a mentor who's really teaching you finance,
Mm-hmm.
you could study it in school, but it takes real life experience to really understand what's going on.
That's right.
So commercial real estate banking did that for me. It made the school classwork and concepts come to life and make sense for me. So as I was working on these real estate deals, and I am studying real estate markets, I am studying how these buildings get put together, how there is a construction budget that is line by line telling you exactly every penny that goes into building these buildings. I had the light bulb moment. It came on. I said, this is how value is accumulated over time.
Mm-hmm.
So wealth is just about the concept of value and how it is accumulated over time.
Right.
Once I understood that concept, once I started investing in a stock market with my own money and having success there, I said, I have to tell people about this.
Mm-hmm.
I have to share this with the world, with my people,
Mm-hmm.
and beyond just my people, with the world.
Right.
So that's when I had a vision to write a book, and the book is called The Art of Finance. And again, I have a background in marketing, so I already knew that finance is a very it's a it's a touchy subject because everyone has to deal with finance,
Right.
but it can be scary for a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of reasons. Some people just don't want to face the facts that they're struggling, right? And then others, it just seems daunting and unapproachable. So I understood that. So my goal and intention was, I'm going to create a book that is not intimidating. It's going to be an art piece. I wanted the book to stand alone as an art piece, period, point blank.
Right.
And that's what I did. So I created a coffee table book, but when you open it up, it's nothing but teaching you finance.
Mm.
And every page is simple. Every page is easily digestible. Every page you can get some great financial knowledge. Either going to teach you what it actually is,
Mm-hmm.
what are assets, what are liabilities. And then I get even more granular and I talk about the psychology of finance. I talk about saving and talk about the stock market, investing. I talk about real estate. And my goal is to show you, how does this thing really work? And how could you apply it to your life to accumulate wealth? It's also, the subtitle is called The Science of Accumulating Wealth. So I'm really trying to show you scientifically, these are the steps you need to take to accumulate wealth. And just to give you the nugget here that hopefully someone hears this and can take something from it. Again, finance is about putting a price or a number on things that are valuable. You can apply that to anything. A house. Every house has a number.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the grocery store, the food, it has a number. The stock market, these companies have a number. You, when you go to work, you have a number that you accept or decline to get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anything that has value has a price. So if you would like to build wealth for yourself, you need to figure out how to provide value for the world.
That's right. That's
People,
it.
people compensate you for the value that you create.
That's right.
Period. So with that concept, I just try to create value for people, period. So with the book was the first art product, and I tried to make everything art pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And now it just has expanded. And I'm also a painter. So I just try to, again, that's just my
No, that's
creative outlet. But
yeah.
I'm trying to show people that this art piece is still value.
Right.
You're decorating a wall and creating something that people get to enjoy and make their office space or their home more aesthetically pleasing. That's value. And it's also a metaphor in two ways. First of all, art pieces sell for millions of dollars historically. That's a fact. A Leonardo da Vinci piece sells for millions.
Mm-hmm.
You have paintings that cost more than some buildings in New York City.
Wow.
So that tells you that art is a component of finance. But secondly, finance is also about converting energy and time into dollars. So when you go to work, or if you own a business, you have to exchange your time and your focus and your energy in order to make a dollar.
That's right.
You can apply that any way you want to. When I or anyone else creates an art piece, the art piece is a physical representation of what I did with my energy and time for a particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
The art piece is a metaphor for capturing your energy and time. So I encourage people, use your energy and time and place it into things that has value and could sustain value long term.
Come on.
So if you put your energy and time in things that you have nothing to show for, probably wasted your time.
Yeah.
If you put your energy and time in things and you can physically see the fruits of it,
Right.
that was a good use of time and
Right.
energy.
Right. Right.
So that has led to me creating several paintings, which are now up in our buddy's office that
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
where we met at. So
Yeah.
I have a office space filled with my art and art that I also curated and sourced. And then my goal is just to create art products that lead people back to the good message.
Come on.
Fashion as well. So I
Yeah.
just released some fashion pieces on my website,
Mm-hmm.
which will be releasing formally September 6th. 2 shirts. I have a bag as well.
Okay.
And my goal, honestly, is I want to create the dopest, coolest art that leads people back to either Jesus or accumulating wealth. And that's my purpose and my passion. And I'm showing people that you could check me out. My best way to find out about me is my Instagram on my website. My Instagram is Malc_peso. That is MALC_PESO. And check me out. You'll see that you
And
can live a fulfilled life.
what's the website? What's the website, Mark?
Oh, I'm sorry. Malcpeso.com. MALCPESO.com. And I want to show people that you can serve God and still be the coolest person in the room. And and I'm confident in that.
That's what's up, man. That's it. Hey, look. Hey, look, we almost at 40 minutes, man. I just want to let you know I'm just sitting there and I'm just sitting there enjoying what you're saying, and we could go on and on. There's so many other things I want to ask you and talk to you about. And like I said, we'll do a part 2 to this. I think again, like I said, you just serve as a great inspiration to so many people. And I just like your position in life, man, and your focus and, and just the things that you're doing, I think could be really a great benefit to a lot of other young folks that are coming up and trying to find, mentors or people that, can help inspire them. I encourage you to check out Malcolm's website, reach out to him on social media. This is a solid brother, as you guys can see. I mean, he's a solid dude, man. He's got his head on straight and his heart's right. And, he's got a commitment to the Lord. And I tell you what, you can't beat that. That's a package deal right there. And so, look, I do got to ask you this though, man, because you said it earlier and we just got into so much stuff. You said something about health, and I want to close us out with this. Obviously, our podcast here is twofold. It evolves around 2 passions of mine, which are, health and well-being, and of course leadership. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of folks that are in leadership capacities in the space of business. And obviously, and I think I've talked to you a little bit about my health journey and the weight loss and just how God, took me through that process and just literally transformed my life. I want to ask you, because you said something about health earlier. How important is that to you, and what are you doing? Because you have a lot that you're doing. What are you doing to make sure that you're properly taking care of yourself? Because again, a lot of times we got so many things we're doing that we kind of lose sight of that. So what are some of the things that you're doing just to kind of make sure you stay healthy and that you're strong, both physically, mentally, and spiritually?
So I just exercise literally like every day.
Okay.
Like okay, some days I take like a break if like my routine, like for example, like the best example is yesterday. Yesterday, I went into the office and I'm super intentional about when I'm at the office, getting my steps in. So I'm walking like intentionally. I'll use the restroom on a different floor just so I can take the steps and
Mhm.
things like that. But when I got home, I did not work out, just to be honest with you. And that was really just contingent on my schedule for the day. But
Right.
but 9 times out of 10, I'm working out every single solitary day. So for me, because I'm in the lab a lot, like creating, writing, designing, reading, because of that, my for me personally, my workout routine is at home. So I literally do hundreds of push-ups every single
Okay.
day. And
Nice.
then I have weights here that I lift, and that just works for me. And then I take walks. So that's how I get my cardio and I also get my strength training. But just the consistency of doing it every single day, literally, it just it works for me. And it's best for me because I don't have to like travel to the gym.
Right. Right. Right.
For me, it's all about time. Like I'm
Yeah.
just a freak about time. Like
Yeah.
I just try to cut out ways of like just I want to save as much discretionary time as possible. Like people talk about discretionary money, but no, the thing you really need to be worried
It's
about
time.
is
That's right.
the discretionary time.
That's right.
How much extra minutes can you get?
Right.
Like I'm the type I'll be working, and then let's say the computer is loading. I'm like, all right, I got to drop and do 10 push-ups right now.
Yeah.
It's like I can't, like I just can't be. It's like I'm weird. I just can't waste this time. It's like,
Right.
that's my personal
That's
routine,
it, man.
and a
That
trick that I have is I literally take a deck of cards. So I start with my age. So whatever age I am, because I've been doing this for some years, I just drop and do that many push-ups to get started. Okay, I'm 30 years old today. So all right, I'm not doing anything until I do 30 push-ups. I
right.
knock out 30, then I take a deck of cards, I flip it, and whatever that number is, I'll just do the push-ups. And then I just switch up the type of push-ups that I do. And then I add in some weights into that. And you go through those cards enough, I'm telling you, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my little- that's my personal system that I have that works for me.
No, that's a good system, man. And you're right, being time conscious and making the most of your time. Because you can get some great workouts at home. I mean, you don't have to go
Absolutely.
to the gym to be active and to stay healthy. But I
It's no
love
excuses. It's no
yeah,
excuses.
yeah,
You have to get
absolutely.
in. And health,
Absolutely.
you don't want to be, you know, you communicate with the world every day, whether you know it or not. So if you come into a room and you sloppy, out of
Right.
shape, you, you told me everything I need to know about you.
Right, right, right,
I
right.
can't, it's like, I'm not even going, it's like, it's hard for me to even like, I know you lazy,
Right,
So it's like, we can't even do no business because it's, it's like, cause I know you, cause if you look in the mirror every single day and you're like, and you see yourself not healthy and
right.
you're just intentionally not going to do something about it,
Yeah.
me and you we're not aligned.
Come on,
Because
man. Come on,
I look
preach
in
it.
that mirror and I
Preach
see
it.
something, I'm like, no, I got to do something about this.
Preach it.
Because
Preach it.
let's be real, I have, of course, right? I'm
Yeah.
not perfect. Of course,
Yeah.
I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, oh, it's motivation, right? It's
Yeah.
like, no, I have to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I have responsibilities. I want to be here. I got a baby on the way. Is no room for walking into a room and being sloppy.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Point blank.
No,
So
that
I guess we can leave it at that.
Uh,
Don't walk into a room and be sloppy because you're going to be judged.
hey, look, hey, folks, y'all hear it here first on this podcast. Don't walk into a room being sloppy. Oh my God, that is.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
don't do it.
In other words, your first impressions are lasting, right? So if somebody, oh man, that's a whole nother session right there we could dive
Right,
into. But like
right.
I said, the the information and the encouragement that you have bought today, man, is just incredible. And I just, again want to, just commend you on where you are, the path that you're taking, and the things that you're achieving that really, really serve as an inspiration. And just keep doing great things, man. And we got to do a part two, man. You're going to come back on the show to do part two because we ain't finished, right? we just got
Absolutely.
we just got started, man. I'm almost at an hour on this thing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I'm honored for you to have me, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, that's no problem, man. So listen, folks, we're gonna wrap up again. Thanks to my brother Malcolm. Malcolm, I appreciate you coming on the Well to Lead podcast, where we believe that when you feel better, you lead better, and we're so grateful to have folks like you that can come on and just provide inspiration, that can talk about leadership and as well as wellness. And I look forward to a part two on this, man. And like I said,
Yes,
thanks
sir.
again. Thanks again for coming on. And folks, I'll talk to you all on next week. Y'all have a good rest of the day.
All right. Have a good one, brother.
All right. Thanks, man.